Hello, my name is Nevaer, and I'm a writer. Normally I write about Hispanics and Latinos in the US, but I've been asked to do a reading. The reading is Hada. Hada, 54, is a writer from Inner Mongolia who was arrested in 1995 and sentenced at the end of 1996 to 15 years for, quote, inciting separation and espionage, unquote. He was active for 27 years in defending indigenous Mongol culture and language and promoting political participation by Mongols. He is currently serving the 13th year of his sentence and has been tortured and treated poorly during his long imprisonment. He is reportedly in very poor health. I'm going to read a letter that Hada's wife sent to Pen last year. Hohat, Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region, July 19, 2008. Dear Pen friends, my name is Xinna, and I am the wife of Mr. Hada, an ethnic Mongolian writer imprisoned in China. During the early 1990s, my husband Hada and I ran the Mongolian Studies bookstore in Hohat, capital city of the so-called Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region, IMAR. Hundreds of Mongolian intellectuals concerned about the deteriorating human rights situation and the intensifying political repression and cultural assimilation by the Chinese authorities gathered in our bookstore to exchange ideas and discuss ways to preserve Mongol identity and culture. In 1992, my husband organized the Southern Mongolian Democratic Alliance, SMDA, whose mission is to preserve and promote Mongolian culture, tradition, and identity and obtain greater autonomy for the Mongols as guaranteed by the Chinese Constitution and the Ethnic Regional Autonomy Law. Later, my husband wrote a book entitled The Way Out of Southern Mongolia and edited a journal entitled The Voice of Southern Mongolia. On December 10, 1995, when people around the free world celebrated Human Rights Day, a dozen Chinese police raided our bookstore and arrested my husband. The following day, hundreds of Mongolian students took to the streets and urged the Chinese authorities to release Hada immediately. The public security authorities of IMAR mobilized hundreds of police and police vehicles to arrest the protesters and members of SMDA. A new crackdown had begun. After a year-long detention, my husband was tried behind closed doors and sentenced to 15 years in jail on charges of, quote, splitting the country, unquote, and, quote, engaging in espionage, unquote. Another member of SMDA, Mr. Tageshi, was sentenced to 10 years in jail on similar charges. Hada was not allowed to find a lawyer to defend himself, and all our appeals were turned down without any legal reason or legal procedure. Currently, Hada is imprisoned in the Inner Mongolia Jail Number 4 in Chefeng City. During the past 12 years, my son Ulis and I have not been allowed to have regular visits with Hada, even though the Chinese prison law allows family members to visit prisoners twice a month. Since my husband's arrest in 1995, my son and I have been the target of harassment and intimidation by the public security and state security authorities. We have been detained, questioned, and beaten up numerous times by the police without reason. In 2002, public security authorities arrested my son on trumped-up allegation of, quote, involvement of robbery, unquote, and sentenced him 3 years in jail without any legal process. We were not allowed to hire a lawyer to defend ourselves. I was given a notice about my son's trial only 30 minutes before the court opened. During his now 13 years in prison, my husband has been frequently tortured by the police guards and inmates. He has been regularly placed on, quote, solitary confinement, unquote, once as long as 66 days, and there is no TV, no newspaper available to him. His health is deteriorating. He has serious digestive system and nerve system problems that are not only untreated, but have worsened in prison. Recently, he has experienced severe leg pain and deteriorating vision. On June 20 of this year, prison authorities took him to an unidentified hospital and examined him. He was put in handcuffs and shackles during his hospital visit. The results of the medical examination were not released to me or my son or to Hadas himself. When we are able to visit him, we don't see any improvements in his prison condition. The only thing that has helped us to live through this extreme hardship is that he has never given up what he believes. We rarely see a smile on his face when we visit him, but he smiled last time when I told him that freedom-loving friends around the world are encouraging and supporting us not to give up what we believe is right. Thank you very much, Xinna, wife of Hadas.